Right. Good morning. Good morning, Apurva. Am I audible and am I visible? Upasna, good morning. Great. All right. So we are approaching our CLAT exam. We've just given our All India Law Entrance Test. And while some things were good morning to everyone, Akshay, Srishti, Rudraksh, while there were certain surprises, some of the sections were rather okay. Let's forget about all of that and let's start preparing and let's give it our best shot for our CLAT exam on Sunday. So keeping that in mind and looking at the sample papers, there's one concept or there is one topic which becomes very, very important for us from our CLAT examination perspective, and that is environment, right? So a lot of you have been asking me to do a sort of like a series on certain important topics from this magazine called Down to Earth, keeping in mind that this particular magazine is loved by CLAT, and I hope they love it this time too. So we picked out certain topics which are important for us, all right, and which is what we are going to deal with today. So all of it is related to environment, except for possibly one topic, and let's get on with it and let's finish it off. Right? Good morning, Kushi and Yuvika. So the very first thing is your National Green Tribunal, right? So what should be the revision strategy for these 5 days? All right, so the revision strategy for these 5 days is one, you can do all of your material which has been done in your classes. So I'm guessing that you guys have already revised whatever has been done from GK perspective, right? Whatever has been done in your classes, you've done that for AILET too. So take one day and revise all your mocks, the GK section. Take one day, revise all of your notes that have been done in your class. One day for possibly all of the things that are there on LMS, your lists and those international organizations, the headquarters, the capitals, all of that. Take one day for all the YouTube sessions. Okay, 4 din ho gaye. And the 5th day, you can revise all of it once again. So what I'm trying to say is don't start doing something which is new as of now. Okay, you have studied a lot. You have a lot of material. The only point is that you have to keep reading it again and again so that you are able to recapitulate it once it comes in your papers. Is that okay? So take these 5 days and pick out all of these sources and just keep revising it again and again. I hope, Rudraksh, that made a little bit of sense and we can sort of work towards that direction. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to start off with the National Green Tribunal. Everyone realizes that this particular tribunal has been made so as to take care of environmental cases, as this is the subject matter of this particular tribunal. The only thing that we need to know is when was it made? It was made in 2010. And it was made by virtue of an act which makes it a statutory body, right? Since it's a tribunal, procedural laws do not apply upon it. But what are tribunals guided by? They are guided by principles of natural justice. All of you know about it. No one should be punished without giving at least one opportunity of being heard. And the second one is no one should be a judge in his own cause. So they are guided by the principles of natural justice, but they are not bound by the procedural laws. Now, where is the headquarter or sort of like the principal place of sitting of this particular tribunal, the NGT, that is New Delhi. However, it does have other regional benches, which are there in Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata, and Chennai. The present chairman is something that we can keep in mind, Honorable Mr. Justice Adarsh Kumar Goyal. So this name is something that you can keep in mind because it is important. It could be possibly asked. Now, the very first thing is, I have been saying this and I will repeat it again. These are certain articles they've been coming again and again in your Down to Earth magazine, and of course in your the Hindu and Indian Express and all of that. And so hence we've just compiled all of them. So the World Environment Health Day, right? World Environment Health Day. So that means Environment Day otherwise becomes your homework, but World Environment Health Day is September 26th. So the theme for the World Environment Health Day is strengthening environmental health system for the implementation of sustainable development goals. Very, very easy to learn it. I know all of you have sort of understood this, that most of the themes have these terms, sustainable development goals. So that is one way to learn this up. But also Environmental Health Day, and they're talking about strengthening the environmental health system for implementation of what? For the implementation of sustainable development goals. Now, what is the project that has been taken up for this World Environmental Health Day? That project, the approach is called One Health. So you've been reading a lot of one world, one sun, one grid, So over here, we are talking about One Health, wherein we are talking about the nexus of human, wildlife, and the shared environmental health. Now, according to the World Health Organizations, they're saying more than 70% of the emerging diseases in human beings have an animal origin. So it makes sense then that we take care of this nexus and we do not allow this to happen in the future, and for which the approach that we have taken up is called One Health. Simple as that. So we are doing all of this just to sort of take a proactive approach and not allow these pandemics and these epidemics to happen in our country or in the world. Now, another question that may be formulated is, who is taking care of this One Health approach? Which are the four parties that are involved in this particular approach? So the very first one is your UN Food and Agricultural Organization. You've read about this. Let's quickly revise. UN Food and Agricultural Organization. We've spoken about it when we spoke about the National Nutrition Mission and all of that. We'll talk a little bit about it in some time, right? Apart from that, the UN Environment Program, UNEP, again, very, very important. Inger Anderson, we've done this. 1972 is when it was made. And then we have the World Organization for Animal Health, which are all working together with the WHO. So WHO, UN Food and Agricultural Organization, and United Nations Environment Program. All of them are working together, the four of them. And what is the name of this approach? One Health. Simple as that. Now, when was One Health introduced in India could be another question. So the first One Health Consortium, which was launched in October 2021. Who launched it? This was the National Institute of Animal Biotechnology. So National Institute of Animal Biotechnology. Where is it located? Hyderabad. Now it is consisting of 27 organizations. Maybe we can not look at that, but we should ideally know when was this launched and who led this particular launch. Now, under the Pradhan Mantri Atmanirbhar Swasthya Bharat Yojana, the first One Health Institute is to be set up in Nagpur. But however, we do not have really one particular mechanism for maintenance of One Health. So हम लोग करेंगे आगे जाके, but अभी तक पता चल गया कि what was the theme of the World Environment Health Day? When is it celebrated? One Health is the approach. Why is this the approach? Because of the nexus between animals and human beings. And who has spoken about it? The World Health Organization. So WHO, along with FAO, UNEP, and World Organization for Animal Health, right? They've all formed the One Health quadripartite. So 4 parties का हम लोगों ने एक organization formulate कर दिया. ठीक है. अब इसके बाद this One Health Joint Plan of Action. These 4 organizations, this is their approach, One Health, and so they've made a plan of action wherein they are going to do a lot of activities and they are going to make sure that, these kind of epidemics and pandemics don't happen in the future. What is the validity of this particular plan? This is 2022 to 2026 is something we can keep in mind. And what are the 6 key areas in this particular plan? So one is we are going to build a One Health capacity of all the health systems. So we are talking about the hospitals and the dispensaries and all of that, so that everyone is trained properly. Then is emerging and re-emerging zoonotic epidemics, right? Zoonotic epidemics are these. Zoonotic का मतलब ये होता है एक ऐसे टाइप का जो डिजीज है जो एनिमल्स के थ्रू ह्यूमन बींग्स में आ रहा है. सो एनिमल्स के थ्रू ह्यूमन बींग्स में जो भी डिजीजेस टाइप के आ रहे हैं, उसके जो एपिडेमिक्स हैं, we are looking at the emerging and the re-emerging ones, and so that we can take proactive approach with respect to that. Then there is endemic zoonotic, again, something that is happening. This is not really become an epidemic yet, but these are diseases that are passing from the animals to the human beings. Then is neglected tropical and vector-borne diseases, any diseases that we've neglected in the past, and so we are going to make a plan of action for that too. Antimicrobial resistance and the environment, and food safety risks. Because you see, there is the treaty is not really made yet, but you've all read about the pandemic treaty, which is being proposed by the WHO, wherein a lot of organizations, well, let's talk about it. The European Union says that most of the times these pandemics happen because certain people eat animals, certain kind of animals. And so hence the virus travels, and then it goes on to becoming something completely different, right? Then after which we have our major environment orders. Now, major environment orders, these are being passed by the National Green Tribunal. So, of course, there are orders that are being passed by the National Green Tribunal or the High Court or the Supreme Court. So there are plenty of them. We've just picked out certain ones. Because when we look at the sample papers, there are, abhi AILET mein question aaya hai, which of the 7 wonders, uska color change ho gaya hai. So keeping that in mind, jo ki thode important zyada mujhe lage, wo maine dal diye. So this one is talking about the Indo-Bangladesh protocol route. So what is happening is, there is a lot of spillage of diesel and fly ash in the saline and brackish waters of the Sundarbans. And Sundarbans was something that was asked, and the Royal Bengal tiger was also there in a CLAT sample paper. So what is happening is there is a forum called Dakshin Banga Matsya GB. So Dakshin Banga Matsya GB, they filed an application before the National Green Tribunal, and they went and said that, listen, because of this diesel spillage and because of this fly ash, the entire river ecology is getting bad. Okay, it is having a negative consequence on the ecology there. And they are also saying because of which we are not able to do our fishing, and that is our livelihood, and we do have a right to livelihood, so you need to stop this from happening, right? So hence the NGT has directed the Central Pollution Control Board, the same authority that is also taking care of the monitoring of ban of the single-use plastic, right? So Central Pollution Control Board ko inhone bola ki you make certain guidelines, and so that this spillage of diesel and fly ash does not happen in the Sundarbans. Fine. Now, Dakshin Banga Matsya GB Forum. Why are we talking about it? Because Fridays for Future and such kind of organizations, even Down to Earth ka head kaun hai, ye bhi pucha hai sample paper mein aapke. So in the same manner, so Dakshin Banga Matsya GB Forum. Why is Indo-Bangladesh very important? You also know it. I also know it. A lot of renewable energy projects have come up, right? And secondly, because the Prime Minister of Bangladesh visited our country, and she came and she did all of that. वो कुशारा River Water Agreement के बारे में अगर हम बात कर लें, फिर उसके बाद if we talk about the River Seti 6 and all of that, no, that is Nepal. Maitri super thermal power plant के बारे में अगर हम बात कर लें, so that is also Indo-Bangladesh. So a lot of things, so we can keep this in mind too, right? It does not have this particular forum does not have one leader. It has a lot of leaders, but well, I'm just writing it down for you. आप थोड़ा नाम से ही पता चल जाएगा आपको, क्योंकि ये वाले क्वेश्चंस भी आ रहे हैं कि इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जैसे अपिको मूवमेंट और नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन का we had asked, we got a question in the sample paper. So Dakshin Banga Matsya GB Forum. Okay. Then the next one is your Surat Kal beach pollution. So if you can see it in the image over here, they're saying there is discoloration of the seawater adversely. Okay. So where is this happening? So this is the Surat Kal beach. Okay. And the Karnataka, this is in the Dakshin Kannad district of Karnataka. Fine. So this is where this is happening. There's something called cage farming. It is a very, very famous type of fishing, right? So cage farming mein, they are saying this Paguni River and Bangra Kulur areas, they are really getting negatively impacted. There is discoloration of the seawater, which is why, and it is also because of the fact that there is also a lot of oil spillage and oil waste which is dumped by ships in the mid sea, because of which tar balls are being made as a, you know, coagulated matter of a lot of oil that is being made, and so hence it is really impacting the marine ecosystem in a very bad manner. And so, hence, again, the Karnataka State Pollution Board was directed by NGT to take requisite actions for the same. What we can keep in mind is, if they ask you a question, discoloration of sea water has happened very recently, which state are we talking about? So the answer would be Karnataka. In case they talk about a beach, then you can say Suratkal Beach, right? There could be a passage on the Foundation for Environment Education, the blue beach certification, Kadmat and Thundi. So one of the questions could be about seawater discoloration on a particular beach, and so hence we could possibly ask the question in this manner. Then also certain other ones, debris dumped in Mumbai salt pans. So obviously a lot of seawater is kept together, and then it evaporates, and what is left then is salt. Those are salt pans. So Mumbai salt pans. So the debris that is dumped in this Mumbai salt pans are affecting the mangroves. Okay, so the NGT has told the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. So there was another. Let's stop over here and let me ask you this question. We've done this before. There was, and it is still happening, an environmental protest that is happening in Mumbai for saving certain trees. What is that particular thing called? Batao, लिख के यहाँ पे. कुछ हमने ऐसे environmental protest का जब series किया था, तो हमने ये बात किया था कि there are certain trees that are there in Mumbai, and there is they are going to cut down those trees, and the citizens are coming together and they're trying to save these trees. What was the protest called? याद है तो लिख दो, नहीं तो एंड में जाके बता दूंगी. ठीक है. So hence now they're saying you have to scientifically handle the waste that is being dumped in the salt pans in Mumbai, right? So then is, what is the performance of India in 2022 Environment Performance Index? Ria, 180 out of 180. We are last. So yes, Upasna, you're right. Save array. We've come last. And considering if global hunger index, which the government of India has only negated, if that can come, then this will be rather simple for you, because we are last in that. 180 out of 180, right? However, the government of India has negated that too. That's a separate issue altogether. Then as the Supreme Court has directed the government of Punjab and Haryana to take concrete steps to resolve the problem of floods of the overflowing of river Ghaggar. Now, river Ghaggar का ये जो overflowing का problem है, ये कोई आज का problem नहीं है, ये periodically होता रहता है. So a question that may be asked is, the Supreme Court has, and by the way, whatever the Supreme Court has said, Punjab and Haryana have not really done that, because it happens almost periodically. And so Supreme Court has also said that we are very disappointed in these two states. Whatever we say, they don't end up doing it. And so they need to take concrete steps in order to stop the problem of floods due to the overflowing of river Ghaggar. ठीक है. फिर इसके बाद अगर हम बात करें, then there is also another issue that India is currently facing, wherein HIV में the drugs that are administered to patients who have HIV is called retroviral therapy drugs, ART, and we have very less of these drugs. And so there is an NGO or a network of people who are living with HIV and AIDS. This is a society. They have petitioned it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has asked the union government to do something about it. So in case asked कि HIV में कौन से वाले drugs are administered, because if they are going to ask you nanoparticles and all of that, they might as well ask you this too. So ART drugs is something that you can keep in mind, also in the news, because of the fact that they are very, very less in number. Achha, now this is something which is rather interesting. We are making a hydroelectric project. Okay, who is making it? The Tehri Hydropower Development Corporation. And as well as, the World Bank is also putting in a lot of money for this. So where is this happening? This is happening obviously Tehri word use करके ही मेरे को पता चल रहा है that we are talking about Uttarakhand. उत्तराखंड के कौन से डिस्ट्रिक्ट की बात हो रही है? चामोली डिस्ट्रिक्ट is what we are dealing with. And they've started to build a dam in this particular region, but the local population, they were like, listen, this is really bad. If you're going to make this project, it is going to destroy this ancient Lakshmi Narayan temple in the heart village. And this Lakshmi Narayan temple, you know, a lot of tourists come to this temple and then they come and pray, and obviously they stay in hotels and they need travel guides, and so hence we make a lot of money out of it. So in case you're going to destroy this temple and you're going to start building this project, it will be really bad for us, and hence you should just stop it. Now, they've been saying this for a very long time because this project, primarily funded by the World Bank, was sanctioned back in 2011. But you know, these 83 local communities, they kept protesting against it, and you know, finally the World Bank has said that they will make an independent panel. They will look into the environmental damage for this Vishnugarh People Koti hydroelectric project, which is going to give us around 444 megawatts worth of renewable energy. In case they believe that, yes, in fact, there are a lot of environmental damage, they will pull out of the project. And so hence, this is sort of like a major victory for the people of the Chamoli district in Uttarakhand. So what do we have to keep in mind? A, the district. B, we're talking about Uttarakhand. C, what is the name of the project? So Vishnugarh People Koti hydroelectric project. And which temple are they talking about? The Lakshmi Narayan temple, right? And how many megawatts? 444. Very, very simple to learn this. And this is being built by the Tehri Hydropower Development Corporation, which is partially owned by the center, and it is being funded by the World Bank. Who is making this independent panel? The World Bank, not the government of India. And when was this sanctioned? This was sanctioned back in 2011. Okay, now then is the next one. National Green Tribunal has said all of this is in the past. So the months that I'm dealing with in this particular session are September, October, November. Okay, and very less of August, but September, October, November. So this is very, very recent. Fine. Now, NGT stops mining in ecologically, something or the other goes wrong, no? Ecologically sensitive Madhav National Park in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so NGT has said that they are going to halt the mining in this ecologically sensitive zone. मुझे पढ़ने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, मुझे नाम से पता चल रहा है कि भाई इकोलॉजिकली सेंसिटिव जोन का मतलब क्या होगा. ऑब्वियसली एक ऐसी जोन जो इकोलॉजी वे से बहुत ही ज्यादा सेंसिटिव है, राइट? सो दे हैव सेड दैट दे आर गोइंग टू हॉल्ट दिस माइनिंग प्रोजेक्ट इन द माधव नेशनल पार्क इन शिवपुरी in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Madhya Pradesh bench, I don't think you need to learn the name of the judge, right? But I've written it because it was there in the article, Justice Arun Kumar Tyagi. Now, what is happening is there is a petition by an advocate called Abhay Jain. If you remember, Acha, who's known as the green lawyer of our country? There is a Mr. Dash versus Union of India. So many environmental cases, right? So this tribunal was hearing this advocate, Abhay Jain, and he has this NGO called the Zenith Society for Socio-Legal Environment, MC Mehta. So the Zenith Society for the Socio-Legal Empowerment, sorry, right? Okay, so ये दोनों चीजें हम लोगों ने की हुई हैं यूट्यूब के सेशन में. अगर आपको फिर भी नहीं पता होगा, आप फिर से मेरे को बताना, बट आप रिवाइज करो अपने नोट से. ये तो यूएन चैंपियन ऑफ द अर्थ लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड जब मैंने पूरा का पूरा यूनाइटेड नेशन एनवायरनमेंट प्रोग्राम किया था, तब हम लोगों ने किया था. अगर फिर भी नहीं मिला तो आप आके मेरे को बताओ. यही बात होती है, वी हैव सो मच मटीरियल बट वी डोंट लाइक रिवाइज इट. I'm not telling you it's your fault. I'm saying so many kids are doing the same thing. So at least sit down with your notes once and just learn them up once. And in case you don't find it, then you come and tell me, because this is done by me on YouTube. Yes, वो फोटो लगा के मैंने वो दिखाया था कि किसको मिला है अवार्ड. Anyway, forget that. So much like MC Mehta, not at that stature, but this particular guy, advocate Abhay Jain of Zenith Society for Socio-Legal Empowerment, right? He is the one who's gone up to the tribunal and he said, listen, this is a very ecologically sensitive area. And apart from that, this particular area also has this village, okay? And the name of this village is Majhera. So which state are we talking about? We are talking about Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh, if we say it, this comes under the 5th schedule of the constitution, जहाँ पे scheduled areas होते हैं और scheduled areas में tribal population होती है, correct? और ऐसी ट्राइबल पॉपुलेशन जहां पे सोशो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट इतनी नहीं हुई है. सो विच इकोलॉजिकली सेंसिटिव एरिया आर वी डीलिंग विद? द माधव नेशनल पार्क. What has the NGT said that you can't do? You can't do mining here. What is the name of the advocate who went up to NGT? The name is Abhay Jain. And is he leading does he have an NGO that is providing legal services? Yes, the name is Zenith Society for Socio-Legal Empowerment. Now, not only mining is bad, right? And it has a detrimental impact on the ecology, but also there is this Majhera village in this particular zone. And this Majhera village, by the way, was also known as the village of widows. Why would any village be called that? Because, these husbands, the male members, they used to do these stone minings. And, a lot of silicosis and tuberculosis, ye bahut sare reasons ki wajah se they ended up dying. So this village is almost still known as the village of widows. And they're saying, abhi bhi agar aap ye karte rahenge, ek to, their husbands are going to pass away because the females are not really going and doing mining, right? The second thing is, this village is home to 25 families of the Saharia tribe. And the Saharia tribe is a community which is comprising of रिया बस मेरे को तू रुक जा, क्लास के बाद मैं तेरे को भेजती हूँ. अभी तू वीडियो मत देख, अभी तू ये वाली वीडियो देख. तो क्लास के बाद मेरे को बोलना, मैं तेरे को वीडियो के स्क्रीनशॉट के साथ भेजूंगी, ठीक है? सो 25 families of the Saharia tribe. ठीक है, इधर क्या है? PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal communities. PVTG के साथ आप कौन सी कमिटी को एसोसिएट करेंगे? धेबर कमिटी. So particularly vulnerable tribal groups का मतलब क्या हो जाता है? These are those tribal groups which are obviously facing a lot of socio-economic issues, but also they are so vulnerable that they are right now doing, they're hunting. They're hunting, they're not even doing agriculture. They're very less in number. Very, very less in number. Their language, their culture is almost getting extinct. How many PVTGs do we have? That is a number that you can learn, 75. Yes? So out of them, so now this entire thing, what do we have to keep in mind? Madhav National Park. Madhav National Park कहाँ पे है? शिवपुरी in मध्य प्रदेश. इसके बाद NGT की अगर हम बात करें, तो उन्होंने क्या बोला? यहाँ पे माइनिंग नहीं हो सकती. What is the name of that advocate who went and he filed a petition? Abhay Jain. What is the name of the society that this guy is a part of, or he started this NGO? Zenith Society for Socio-Legal Empowerment. What is the name of the village that is a part of this ecologically sensitive zone? The name is Majhera. What is the village known as? It is also known as the village of widows. And now we understand why. And the next thing is, this village is comprising of 25 families of the Saharia tribe. And the Saharia tribe is basically a community which is also known as PVTG, particularly vulnerable tribal group. मतलब अगर मैं बात करूं कि tribes are doing decent and then there are tribes which are not doing that decent, and जो बिल्कुल ही कम कर रहे हैं उनको PVTG बोल दिया हमने, ठीक है? वो hunting कर रहे हैं, वो agricultural occupations कर रहे हैं, वो बहुत ही कम है नंबर में. And a lot, yes Aryan, yes it is, and there are a lot of problems that are happening. ठीक है, चलो ये September 21st 2022 का न्यूज है. फिर then there is an obituary to this person called Sujit Patwardhan. ये नाम याद रखना. So this guy was the first amongst the pioneers in our country who said, listen, stop using so many automobiles, stop using cars for such short distances. use public transport, start walking, and start cycling. Because, these automobiles are, of course, they are having very detrimental impact on your environment. So India's mobility champion, he succumbed to his illness on 22nd October 2022 at the age of 77. What is the name? Sujit Patwardhan. So Patwardhan, he founded an NGO called Parisar, okay, in the 1980s. And this is based out of Pune. And this particular organization, it is leading with steps related to mitigation of environmental degradation. Fine. He was influenced by Latin America, Europe. This is just for your understanding. Don't learn it up. किससे influence हुआ था? लेकिन ये जरूर आपको पता होना चाहिए that he said automobile centric policies नहीं होनी चाहिए, and you have to reconsider them, and you have to start walking and cycling and using public transport to make more people-centric cities. So Sujit Patwardhan is something that you can keep in mind. Now, polluter pays principle is something that everybody knows. Loss and damage fund is something that all of you know, which we've already done in the previous sessions when we dealt with COP27. Yes or no? Right? So loss and damage में भी हमने क्या बोला था? Polluters pay principle, right? जहां पे फिर से हमारे दिमाग में MC मेहता आ जाता है. So now in this particular case, the NGT it has put a lot of fine on 7 states. Fine, and thousands and crores of fine. मतलब इतना ज्यादा पैसा इन लोगों ने मांगा है different states से कि it is if the fine is compared with the compensatory afforestation fund management and planning authority, so it is already half the amount that this fund has. Okay, now what is this fund? नाम से पता चल रहा है. Okay, so this was made in 2001 and the act for it was made in 2016. Now it has become a statutory fund. What is it doing? It is giving out money for the promotion of afforestation and regeneration activities to compensate for land diverted to non-forest use. So in case you're going to utilize a particular stretch of land for let's say non-forest use to make an industry, then you need to make something somewhere else. You need to plant certain trees, you need to do afforestation so that the negative impact of your industries is compensated for by this micro forest or whatever it is. अब जितना पैसा जितना फाइन इन 7 स्टेट्स के ऊपर लगाया है, अगर उन सबको साथ में मिला लें तो ये फंड का आधा उसी से बन जाएगा. So all I need to know is A, how did they calculate this particular money, that who should pay more and who should pay less? This is according to whoever has polluted more and whoever has polluted less. Polluter pay principle. How many states are we dealing with? 7. And which state is supposed to put the maximum amount of money? That is Maharashtra. Apart from that, I mean, the 7 states are Maharashtra, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Telangana, Punjab, Delhi, and Karnataka. And of course, Delhi is not like a state, but it's a quasi-state because it's a UT with legislative assembly. So which states are we talking about? Rajasthan, West Bengal, Telangana. Maximum was given by Maharashtra, then Punjab, Delhi, and Karnataka. Okay, so now a little bit of good news, right? However, this is going to be, there's going to be another slide which will talk about World Ozone Layer Day, and, a UK-based research firm will talk about how forest fires contribute to ozone layer depletion. But very recently, NASA and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, this particular organization was made in 1970. Headquarters Washington, DC. Richard W. Spinrad is the one who's heading this particular organization. So what have they said? They've said that the hole in the ozone layer has become smaller in 2022. So that is a good thing. What is the reason for it? They say the reason for this is the fact that, there was a ban that was applied on the use of harmful ozone layer depleting chemicals, which was made by virtue of the Montreal Protocol. तो Montreal Protocol जो 1989 में बना था, जिसका मेंबर इंडिया 1992 में बना था, it said कि हम लोग ये रिलीज ऑफ हार्मफुल केमिकल्स जो कि ओजोन लेयर को डिप्लीट करने वाले हैं, कॉल्ड क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स, उनको हमने खत्म कर देना है. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीजन आज जाके इट इज द ओजोन लेयर इज सॉर्ट ऑफ reviving itself and the hole is becoming smaller over the Antarctic, right? So the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer was a multilateral environmental agreement, like we just spoke about, right? Ozone layer, we are all aware of it. It protects the earth from the harmful UV radiations which are emitted by the sun, and ODS released through aerosols damages the stratospheric ozone layer. बहुत ही सिंपल सी, बहुत ही बेसिक सी बातें हैं, ये आता है हम लोगों को hopefully, right? So हर साल during the southern hemisphere spring, chemical reactions involving chlorine and bromine cause the ozone in the southern polar region to be destroyed rapidly and severely. The climatic conditions are in this way कि southern polar region में ज़्यादा impact पड़ता है ये ozone layer depleting substances का, and वो बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब there is a ozone layer hole. So this depleted region is called the ozone hole, and the strongest depletion has occurred over Antarctica, right? And now they say that it is decreasing, which is very, very good for us. ठीक है, किसने बोल दिया? नासा ने बोल दिया, नेशनल एरोनॉटिक स्पेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. बिल नेल्सन का नाम हम सबको पता है, 1958 में ये बना है, हेडक्वार्टर इसका वॉशिंगटन डीसी है. नेशनल ओशियानिक एटमॉस्फेरिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन 1970 में बना, वॉशिंगटन डीसी, रिचर्ड डब्ल्यू स्पिनरैड, right? Montreal Protocol is something we can keep in mind. वैसे ये हमें आता होगा, 1989 में ये बना था, 1992 में इंडिया इसका मेंबर बन गया. क्या बोला इसने कि जो भी ओजोन लेयर की डिप्लीटिंग सब्सटेंसेस हैं उनको आप कम कर दीजिए. So nearly 100 man-made chemicals were referred to as ozone depleting substances. Since 2000, the Antarctic hole has been shrinking, and its average size was 23.2 million square kilometers from September 7th, 2022 to October 13, 2022. So this is something that you can keep in mind, क्योंकि अगर हम पूछ ही रहे हैं कि मतलब क्या बोला नासा ने, so 23.2 million square kilometers, okay? Now, this depleted area of the ozone layer over South Pole was slightly smaller than the extent of 23.3 million square kilometers for the same period in 2021. तो 2021 में सेम पीरियड मतलब सितंबर से लेके अक्टूबर तक 23.3 मिलियन स्क्वायर किलोमीटर्स थे, अब 23.2 हो गया है. एंड यू विल बी लाइक इट्स जस्ट अ डिफरेंस इन अ डेसिमल पॉइंट, बट it's a huge difference for us, right? That means whatever we are doing is working out for us. Okay, now so which was the first direct proof of the ozone hole recovery due to chemical ban? तो अभी मॉन्ट्रियल प्रोटोकॉल की बात की, अगर एक स्टेटमेंट ऐसी आई कि कौन सा ऐसा प्रूफ था जिसने पहली बार बताया कि केमिकल बैन की वजह से आपका ओजोन होल जो है वो रिकवर कर रहा है, तो उसका आंसर क्या है? दैट वाज आल्सो अ स्टडी कंडक्टेड बाय नासा इन 2018 दैट सेड a decline in chlorine from the ban on chlorine containing man-made chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons has resulted in about 20% less ozone depletion during the Antarctic winter than it was there in 2005. ठीक है, so chlorine containing man-made chemicals जो क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स हैं, जिनको मॉन्ट्रियल प्रोटोकॉल ने बोला था कि मत यूज करो, 2018 में जाके नासा वो had conducted this independent study and it said it has really helped in the recovery of the ozone layer, ozone hole, and about 20% less ozone depletion has happened because of this. Okay, so in this particular case we've spoken about National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. We know the heads of both: Bill Nelson for NASA, Richard W. Spinrad for National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. दोनों का हेडक्वार्टर इज वॉशिंगटन डीसी। नासा बना 1958 में, ये बन गया 1970 में। बोला कि ओजोन लेयर की डिप्लीशन जो है वो कम हो गई 23.2 मिलियन स्क्वायर किलोमीटर्स फ्रॉम सितंबर टू अक्टूबर एज कंपेयर टू द प्रीवियस ईयर विच वाज 23.3. This is because of the Montreal Protocol, which happened in 1989. India became a member in 1992, which talks about not using certain chemicals which are going to deplete your ozone, which are called chlorofluorocarbons. The first time that we realized that not using these chemicals is actually helping the ozone layer was 2018, wherein NASA conducted the study and it saw the difference in the ozone layer, ozone hole from 2005 to 2018. And they say there has been a 20% improvement because of this particular thing. ठीक है, बाकी स्ट्रेटोस्फेरिक ओजोन लेयर होती है, स्ट्रेटोस्फेयर में होती है। Sorry for that. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? In case there is a problem, the electricity is gone. So in case there's a problem, you let me know. I'll switch off my video. Okay? ठीक है. हाँ जी. So this is your ozone layer hole. Now, another thing that the National Green Tribunal has very recently said, this order has been given to Punjab. Now, what has happened is the Food Corporation of India, keeps a lot of buffer stock of various many grains because they are going to utilize these grains in governmental schemes like the PM Poshan Nirman, which is your midday meal scheme, and also under schemes such as the targeted public distribution system. But what happens is they keep storing so much, but they don't store it well, which is why now there is the grains are rotting, and because of which there is a pest attack that is happening. Is that clear? So that is all that there is to this. Just that NGT has taken so moto cognizance of this particular thing, wherein it has said that the Food Corporation of India go down in Punjab is not storing the grains properly, which is leading to a lot of pest attacks. Done. अब इसके बाद आगे बढ़ते हैं। ये आ गया आपका COP14. सो इसको हमने UNFCCC के साथ रिलेट नहीं करना। यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं वेटलैंड्स की, मतलब हम बात कर रहे हैं रामसर कन्वेंशन की। रामसर कन्वेंशन की जो कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग पार्टीज 14th हुई है, ये दिस इवेंट इज बीइंग हेल्ड इन 2 different venues. One is Wuhan in China and one is Geneva in Switzerland in the month of November. And they are talking about many different things, and amongst those things are, please tell me in case my voice becomes a little whatever, and then I can do the needful. In case it's all right, then it's fine. So amongst many other things, they've spoken about creating an international mangrove center in China. And then everyone has a problem with it. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, everyone has a problem with this particular fact कि mostly China is in the temperate zone. एंड अगर हम मैंग्रोव्स वगैरह, ये मैंग्रोव्स कह रही हो, अगर हम लोग ये वेटलैंड्स वगैरह की अगर हम बात करें तो वो ट्रॉपिकल जोन में होना चाहिए. नॉट सेइंग दैट चाइना में ट्रॉपिकल जोन नहीं है, एंड नॉट इवन सेइंग कि चाइना में वेटलैंड्स नहीं है. But they're saying instead of keeping this center in a country like China, you should have ideally kept it in India. Who's saying it? Indians are only saying it. Yeah, so that is one thing that is happening. And the second thing is, so they are saying International Mangrove Center in the framework of Ramsar Convention has been submitted by China, and it is co-sponsored by Cambodia and Madagascar. So Cambodia, Madagascar is both supporting China. Chinese government, along with 3 partner organizations, they had released a report in 2020 called the Report on China Mangrove Conservation and Restoration Strategy Research Project. This was the first document that China had made to comprehensively look into the state of their mangroves. And if we talk about India, India has a state of the forest report that comes up every year. Yes or no? We had an Indian state of the forest report in 2021 also, which spoke about dense forest kahan pe hai, sparsely dense kahan pe hai, mangroves zyada kahan pe hai. So in that sense, this was the first research report of China. And like I said, China is largely in the temperate zone, and India believes it should come to India because we have more of tropical and subtropical zone, which is more conducive for for these wetlands. Okay. So NM Ishwar is something that you can keep in mind, right? He was a former India coordinator. Then our homework becomes who's the current India coordinator for the IUCN. So he was a former India coordinator for the IUCN, and he spearheaded the Mangroves for Future program. So this becomes another question. Who was that Indian coordinator who was working with IUCN, who was also spearheading the program called Mangroves for Future program? And so the answer would be NM Ishwar. ठीक है? So COP14 के बारे में बात कर ली. We are talking about the Ramsar Convention here. It happened in the month of November in two different venues. One is Wuhan in China, one is Geneva in Switzerland, right? And what did they basically talk about? They spoke about the fact that they should create like an international mangrove center. And where should they create it? They should create it in China, supported by Cambodia and Madagascar. India says no, nothing doing, because you are mostly in the temperate zone. It should come to us or maybe to Bangladesh, but not to you. Also because of the fact that India has the largest amount of Ramsar sites in Asia. I'm not saying in the world, but at least in Asia. Also, the first time the Chinese government spoke about the restoration of mangroves was the China Mangrove Conservation and Restoration Strategy. थोड़ा लंबा नाम है, पर 2020 में किया है, ठीक है? Okay. And also this guy's name, NM Ishwar. Okay? Now, let's talk about UN meets over treaty to govern the use of high seas. So we do realize there is something known as the UN Convention on the Law of Seas, जहाँ पे हमारी coastline से 12 nautical miles तक becomes our territorial water, and up to 200 nautical miles becomes our exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zone, as the name suggests, is such an area where we can exclusively do economic exploitation of, let's say, we can do deep sea mining, we can research on the polymetallic nodules. So we can basically make money over there, right? But beyond that comes this waterbed, which is called high seas, which is not under the jurisdiction of any country. Now, the United Nations has it sat down for the 5th round of negotiations for an international treaty to govern the marine biodiversity beyond our jurisdiction, मतलब high seas के अंदर. ठीक है, न्यूयॉर्क में ये मिले हैं, ठीक है, they are going to create a new legally binding global treaty to govern the use of the high seas, and they are just focusing on the marine biological diversity. फाइन. एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन इधर 322 किलोमीटर क्यों लिखा है? क्योंकि मैंने नॉटिकल माइल्स की बात की, ठीक है? सो नॉटिकल माइल्स में होता है पानी को हम लोग देखते हैं. सो 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स इज टेरिटोरियल वाटर, to up to 200 nautical miles is exclusive economic zone. So they are going to talk about the vulnerability of marine ecosystem, as simple as that. So the Intergovernmental Conference of the UN, it began on 15th August 2022. Very easy for us to learn, right? And will go on till 26th August. Like I said, I've put in a little bit of August also. Also, डीप सी माइनिंग की फेट के लिए भी ये लोग इन्होंने बात की कि कैसे करना है डीप सी माइनिंग, है ना? हमने समुद्रयान की भी बात की है, जहाँ पे कितने हम लोग मीटर अंदर जा रहे हैं पानी के अंदर. समुद्रयान, नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ ओशन टेक्नोलॉजी के लोग बैठे हैं, इसरो के लोग बैठे हैं. टेल मी, नॉट गगनयान, समुद्रयान, मत्स्य करके जो हमने बनाया है. एनीवे, टेल मी हियर. So fate of deep sea mining was also discussed at the 27th session assembly of the International Seabed Authority. So International Seabed Authority, good, 6,000 it is. ठीक है. सो ये वाली चीज हमारी होगी कि हम ट्रीटी बना रहे हैं, लीगली बाइंडिंग ट्रीटी होगी. 5th नेगोशिएशन है, कहते हैं अभी खत्म ही होने वाली है. पहले कब शुरू किया था? लास्ट कब था? 2017 में था. फिर एक साल पहले इन लोगों ने किया था. एंड अभी तक बना तो है नहीं, लेकिन दे आर वर्किंग टूवर्ड्स इट. Then is the World Ozone Day. So we've just spoken about ozone, wherein NASA and another organization over here, नेशनल ओशियानिक एटमॉस्फेरिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, इन दोनों ने बोला कि ओजोन लेयर का जो होल है उसका कम हो जा रहा है, मतलब बिकॉज ऑफ द मॉन्ट्रियल प्रोटोकॉल. Over here, they are talking about World Ozone Day, which is celebrated on the 16th of September. The theme is global cooperation to protect life on Earth. क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे? They are talking about how forest fires is going to pose a lot of threat to the ozone layer. So why is that happening, and which one are they talking about? They were talking about the wildfire that happened in Australia from June 2019 to 2020, which was very, very unprecedented. Now, it is not very uncommon for wildfires to happen in Australia, but at such a rate which causes so many, which was so catastrophic, that was unprecedented. Fine. Now, it became probably the worst natural disaster in the country. Now, what happens during these forest fires? ये जो smoke है, it goes up to great heights, and because of the black carbon, it absorbs the solar heat, and then it rises into the lower stratosphere. ठीक है, like a hot air balloon. So, and ozone layer is in the stratosphere. Fine, and because of which, you know, they have this has absorbed the harmful UV radiation from the sun, and that is how it leads to ozone layer depletion. Okay, that is all that we have to keep in mind over here. And the 2019 to 20 wildfire, it sort of spiked the temperature in the lower stratosphere over Australia. Only Australia is what we are talking about, by 3 degrees Celsius, right? And this is the biggest increase since 1991, when the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in Philippines उधर भी हो गया था. ठीक है, सो ये 3 चीजें होगी. वर्ल्ड ओजोन डे कब मनाया जाता है? 16 सितंबर. इसका थीम पता चल गया, ग्लोबल कोऑपरेशन टू प्रोटेक्ट लाइफ ऑन अर्थ. देन वी स्पोक अबाउट 2 kinds of disasters. One was the Mount Pinatubo, which was in Philippines, and the second one was the wildfire in Australia, not very current, but 19 to 20 में. Then is United Nations Environment Program, along with UK-based charity Reef World Foundation. They have come up with something called the Green Fins Hub. So question like Green Fin Hub किसने बनाया? So United Nations Environmental Program. UNEP plus किसने बनाया Green Fins Hub? So UK-based charity Reef World Foundation. क्या है ये रीफ वर्ल्ड फाउंडेशन से मेरे को पता चल रहा है. व्हाट आर दे गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट? दिस particular global digital platform is for a sustainable marine tourism. Okay, कि sustainable marine tourism कैसे करना है, डाइविंग, स्नॉर्कलिंग वगैरह ये जो सब आप कर रहे हो, इसको sustainable तरीके से कैसे करना है. ठीक है, by using tried and tested solutions. And coral reefs, we say, are home to 25% of marine life. And so many people, you know, they marine related tourism का मेक्का माना जाता है coral reefs को. ठीक है, and they contribute to around 40% of the GDP in some island nations. मतलब अगर साल के 100 रुपए अगर वो कमा रहे हैं, तो 40 रुपए इस marine tourism के कारण आ रहे हैं. So hence it is so important to take care of them and to make sure there is sustainable marine tourism. ठीक है, and if they are anything like us, जो हम लोग अपने हिमाचल प्रदेश का कचरा मचा देते हैं टूरिस्ट लोग जाके, तो that is not sustainable tourism. So that is when sustainable marine tourism comes into play. And by the way, this this reef, coral reefs, they are very, very vulnerable ecosystem. And why are they so vulnerable? Because ये 1.5 and 2 degree, we've spoken about this before when we spoke about COP27, Paris Climate Change Agreement, की pre-industrial level से temperature increase ideally कितना होना चाहिए? मतलब it should be till 1.5 degrees, but below 2 degrees Celsius. तो जैसे कि अगर ये इतना ज्यादा हो जाएगा तो एग्जिस्ट करने के लिए ये कोरल रीफ्स एग्जिस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगी. ठीक है, सो दे आर वेरी वेरी वल्नरेबल टू क्लाइमेट चेंज, एंड सो हेंस दिस सस्टेनेबल मरीन टूरिज्म इज इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि अगर ये चले गए तो 40% ऑफ द जीडीपी ऑफ दीज आइलैंड नेशंस विल ड्रॉप. देन दे विल ओनली अर्न 60 where they were earning 100. Right, so that is that. Now marine and freshwater ka coordinator at UNEP is Leticia Carvalho, right? So Inger Anderson is the one who's the person who's heading UNEP. And now I think this is possibly the last one. Yes, it is. So World Lion Day is 10th August, and the theme is about Asiatic lion, is why there was a huge article on Asiatic lions. Project Lion started in 1972 in India, and as of 2021, IUCN accordingly, they are endangered. A little while ago, they were critically endangered also. So for the last 130 years, the lion subspecies, the Asiatic lions, have only been found in Gujarat, in India. Fine. And Gujarat में भी कहाँ पे गिर नेशनल पार्क में, ठीक है, and outside the protected areas of Gujarat. This is their scientific name, earlier called this, right? But however, they said, historically, these Asiatic lions, they roamed all over the Indo-Gangetic plains, from Sindh in the west to Bihar in the east, right? And in the Indian subcontinent, the lion was found in UP, Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, right? Gujarat, Pakistan, all of here. Okay? And they say lions, like many other animals, they've all come from Africa. They've migrated from Africa. Okay? And well, yes. So as of today, they are endangered. They are in Gujarat. Gujarat में गिर नेशनल पार्क में. पहले ये हर जगह होते थे, वो चलो इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं, वो सिर्फ ऐसे ही समझ लेना. एंड वर्ल्ड लायन डे इज इम्पोर्टेंट, प्रोजेक्ट लायन इज इम्पोर्टेंट. ठीक है. Okay, so that is all from my side. We have done a lot today. Let me just give you like a basic recap of whatever we have done, and then we will call it a day. And I would like to request all of you to instead of thinking कि कट ऑफ क्या होनी चाहिए अभी एलेट की, वो आपके टीचर्स को करने दो. अभी तुम लोग पढ़ो, क्योंकि तुम्हारे ग्रुप में यही बातें चलती रहती है ना. So what did we talk about? We spoke about the National Green Tribunal. We spoke about the World Environment Health Day, which is 26th of September, right? Then we also spoke about those 4 organizations that have come together for this. So that is your UNEP and your WHO. And then we spoke about the World Animal Health Organization and Food and Agricultural Organization, wherein they're taking an approach. The approach is called One Health. Then we spoke about major environmental orders, wherein we spoke about the Indo-Bangladesh protocol in the Sundarbans, the oil, the diesel spillage and all of that. Then we spoke about the discoloration of seawater. This was in the Surattal beach. That is what we spoke about. Then the next one was your debris, which was dumped in Mumbai salt pans. Then the river Ghaggar, which is always overflowing, and how Supreme Court has told the 2 states, Punjab and Haryana, to take care of it. And then we spoke about how HIV ka jo drug hai, ART, that is really, really less in quantity. Then we spoke about this Chamoli district, wherein there is a hydroelectric power project that is being made, and it has been sanctioned in 2011, and funding is being made by World Bank. It is known as the Vishnugad People Koti hydroelectric power project, 444 megawatts, and how these local communities said that ye nahi hona chahiye, and so hence the World Bank is making an independent committee to take care of that. Then we spoke about the National Green Tribunal and how the ecologically sensitive Madhav National Park में mining नहीं होना चाहिए. किसने बोला? अभय जैन ने बोला. अभय जैन के एनजीओ का नाम क्या है? जेनिथ सोसाइटी फॉर सोशियो लीगल एम्पावरमेंट. फिर उसके बाद आ गया आपका विलेज इज मझेरा विलेज में एक पीवीटीजी है, पर्टिकुलरली वल्नरेबल ट्राइबल ग्रुप, सहारिया ट्राइब, राइट. एंड ये मझेरा विलेज जो है, इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द विलेज ऑफ विडोज. Then we spoke about the obituary, Sujit Patwardhan, the guy who says, kindly use your cycle, use your feet to walk and public transport instead of going everywhere in your gadi, right? And then is 7 states were fined like a lot of money, and maximum जो penalty लगी है वो महाराष्ट्र पे. And what is this principle called? Polluter pays principle. फिर नासा ने और नेशनल ओशियानिक एंड एटमॉस्फेरिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने बोला कि ये जो ओजोन लेयर का होल है वो कम हो रहा है, which is a good thing for us, just 0.1 decimal point, but it's a huge thing. That means we are working well. Then they spoke about the Montreal Protocol, which was signed in 1989, and India became a member in 1992. Okay, then the first time that we came to know that ozone hole recovery is happening due to chemical ban was because of an independent study that was taken by NASA, right, in 2018. Then also Punjab में बोल दिया कि FCI के godowns में you're not storing your grains properly, which is why they are rotting and they are giving rise to a lot of pests. वैसी pest attack इतने सारे हो रखे हैं और मत करवाओ. फिर वेटलैंड्स की कन्वेंशन हुई, COP14 हुई, एक वुहान में, आधा जिनीवा में, जहां पे चाइना कहता भाई इंटरनेशनल सेंटर फॉर मैंग्रोव कंजर्वेशन शुड बी देयर इन चाइना, and this has been supported by Cambodia and Madagascar. But India says nothing doing, you're mostly in the temperate zone, we are in the tropical subtropical zone, and so ideally it should come here, but well, nobody really listened, right? Then is your treaty to govern the use of high seas is something that we've already learned. This is the UN Convention on the Law of Seas in 1982. Then is World Ozone Day. World Ozone Day is 16 September, global cooperation to protect life on Earth. इसके ऊपर बात हो रही है. फिर इसके बाद ओजोन में उन्होंने कहा कि फॉरेस्ट फायर्स दे पोज अ लॉट ऑफ threat, where they spoke about. One was Philippines, Mount Pinatubo, and second was your Amazon rainforest wildfire 19 to 20 में. Then there is a new digital platform that has been introduced by United Nations Environment Program, Inga Anderson wala, right? UK based charity program Reef World Foundation. नाम क्या है इसका? Green Fibs Hub. Green Fibs Hub. क्या करना है? Marine सस्टेनेबल मरीन टूरिज्म करना है, क्योंकि कोरल रीफ्स जो हैं अगर क्लाइमेट चेंज बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा तो वो गई. And coral reefs is like the mecca of marine tourism. And island countries basically make around 40% of their GDP through this. Then is World Lion Day, the last thing, that was 10th August, about Asiatic lions. Right now, we only have them in Gujarat. IUCN has declared them as endangered, and we came up with the project Lion in 1972. ठीक है. Now, thank you very much. जिसके जो doubts हैं, जिसने जो वो पूछना है, वो आप मेरे से बाद में पूछ लीजिएगा. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.